Hey guys, we are back for another video. Make sure you all hit that notification bell so you are notified when new videos are uploaded. And also make sure you guys are subscribed to my channel. Hit the thumbs up if you're enjoying the content. And as always, let me know what y'all think in the comments. So we're going to be getting into this interview that Jeezy had with Nialong. It is a very good interview, guys. And I'm going to ask you to check it out. Of course, I am not going to show the entire interview, just a brief snippet to hone in on the topic that I'm talking about today. But we're going to get into our intro first, and then I'm going to come back just a little bit to preface the video portion that I'm going to be showing you. But let's get into our intro.
Please, I don't have any time for any gossip now. Eh? Yes.
Okay, guys, so I'm going to show you a very short, I believe it's a 3-minute clip. Please understand this is not indicative of the entire interview. If you guys get a chance, please check out the entire interview so it can make sense for you. But this was a very good interview, and I believe that I understand Jeezy a lot more because we are a sum total of our experiences. So let's jump into this video clip, and then we're going to come back for the commentary piece. So I have that video snippet coming up next.
About is your current marriage and your current situation. And I think it would be unfair to you to not address that in this space where we're being really open and honest. And it doesn't have to be the details of anything. Right. But if you've done all of this work and you've given yourself that grace and you've given yourself that space to grow and you've given yourself permission to love self, right? Then what happens when a man gets to the point where they're just like, okay, I'm filing for divorce?
Integrity intact. I could never say anything that would not honor somebody.
Absolutely.
But I can tell you that this has not been a easy journey.
Right.
I can tell you that I'm saddened. I can tell you that I'm disappointed. I can tell you that I'm uneasy. Right? But again, like, God has put me in a different path, and that path is going to entail for me to take care of myself and to love myself and to be in the best situation that I can thrive as someone who's been through all the things that I've been through.
It's kind of something you can't explain.
Yeah, you can't. The real thing is, like, I don't like to fail in anything.
Me either. I don't want to lose. I don't want to fail.
I don't want to fail, especially when I know what
you've poured in.
Right. And, as I sit across from you, like, I can only be responsible for myself.
True.
And I can only do what I can do. Right. And I can't expect someone else to do what I'm doing.
But did you go to therapy with her?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Right.
So you actually addressed it,
right.
Tried to work through it, tried to do the work, and it just was like not happening.
No.
Well, then you tried.
Yeah.
I don't know about for you, but for me, it is a switch.
Right.
And when that switch
is
goes
that what
off,
that was your switch?
Go on. Yeah.
Right.
But I had to realize for myself that anything that happened in the last, year and a half of my life, that shouldn't have nothing to do with me.
And that's my
that
point
didn't have
case.
anything to do with me. I was not embarrassed.
Right.
The way that Black people stood up for me and the way that Black women were like, oh, no, you don't do that to her. I was shocked because I didn't realize that what I had done or what I've done in my career had so much impact.
Okay, guys, we are going to get into the commentary piece. And this interview gave me so much. And listening to Jeezy, I feel like in this interview, he was really being honest. He doesn't appear to be promoting his book. And it could be, that he felt really comfortable with Nia. I love her interview style. I think it was great. Well, let's just jump right in here, guys. One of the things that I liked with this interview is that Nia is like, listen, we've been keeping it real this whole time. We must talk about your pending divorce. I'm not asking you to give me specifics, but we want to know, how does a man just file for divorce? Well, what we didn't know, and this is because Jeezy is not as public as Jeanniemai is. He doesn't really speak on these things, but it's kind of coming together for me. We know that Jeezy and Jeanniemai was in counseling. So although he up and filed, there was some issues going on in that particular marriage because he up and filed for divorce, right? But they were going through therapy because he just told us that. One thing well, I'm not going to say one thing because this whole interview was just, it was to the point. Um, Jeezy said in his interview, now not in the snippet that I showed you guys, but I need to talk about the entire interview. Jeezy said 99.9% of the people he has met has done something offensive to him. Now, that's very important when I continue to talk about who Jeezy um, appeared to be in this interview. And again, this is not part of my snippet, but I need to speak to the entire interview before I can get to my conclusion. Jeezy told us in this interview that he's a Libra. I'm sorry, guys, I'm not into signs, but he says that means that he's fair. He talks about deaths that he's experienced. If you guys don't know, his ex-life, was a drug dealer. So he did a lot of street things. He's a very guarded person, and that this is by his own admittance. But I'm sorry, not Jeannie. Nialong was able to call it out because she recognized game in him, is what she said. So basically, a person who is a guarded person will struggle in relationships where you have to be in a close relationship, somewhat like a love relationship. In this interview, Nia basically told him, when you're a guarded person or whatever your personality is, you tend to attract people that is like you. And that is very, very true. So we know he's a guarded person, which is very hard for him to be in intimate relationships. Although he's been in intimate relationships, they don't last. Jeezy, and he said this so many times that finally it's stuck in my brain. He struggled with love from his mom. He did not feel love from his mom. And his mom died. And he said his uncle just passed away maybe a few months ago. I don't know, maybe it's 4 months ago as of this video. But he said that he went to his mother's grave just recently, which would have been within the last few months. He said that he needed to forgive his mom. He also acknowledges that he wasn't a good father. And to most recently, he's having a better relationship with his son. He speaks about just not being a good parent. I mean, people are human. They make mistakes. So, I mean, this is no shot against him. This is him just being real in the moment. Me as a parent, I know that I haven't been a good parent in every aspect because I'm not perfect. Even in my struggle to be a good parent, I've made mistakes, and that is me acknowledging. So you guys don't feel like I'm taking shots at him, because I promise you I'm not. Um, Jeezy feels like he never stood up to his mom, which is going to be very interesting when I get to my conclusion. He never stood up to his mom, which would mean whenever another woman is involved, he will have the last word. You guys got to understand that. You got to understand that. He speaks of only having a few chosen people that really understands him. Believe it or not, he feels like he's by himself. He also feels that he's been treated wrong by by a lot of individuals, which is a lot to wear daily. To feel like you've been wronged by a lot of individuals, that's a lot. He talks about he did not love himself for a good part of his life, and that in most situations he never chose himself. He said he loved people to the best of his ability, which is a good choice of words, because he said to the best of his ability. But I can tell you this, a person who feels like they've never been loved by their mother, their ability to love you is going to be very slim to none. It is important for you all to understand is Jeezy is not a forgiving person. He's a very fragile person. Although he's accomplished many things, he is a very fragile person. And you guys must check out this. You must check out the interview, because I am commentating a small snippet of the interview, but I've watched the entire interview and it was really, really good. So, in closing, I want to point out these things. Jeezy is a man that never felt loved by his mother. His wife would be a woman, which is jeanniemai. So if he's never felt loved by the first woman in his life, and he has not been healed from that, it's going to be almost impossible for him to be a husband. We must understand also, because of that relationship with his mother, he suffers from relationships, period. He also struggles in the authenticity in relationships to be himself, because he feels like he needs to be protected all the time because of the different situations that he has been in for a good part of his life. What you guys must understand is when we are young and our brain starts to form, it forms our life. In order to change that way of thinking, you need significant therapy. There's so many things that you need. I'm not saying that it's not possible, but I'm gonna keep going before I get off track. So in closing, I feel, and you guys gonna have to watch the whole video, I feel like Jeezy felt emasculated by his wife. Now, that doesn't mean that he was intentionally emasculated, but it means that it happened according to him, whatever that will look like. You have to understand, this is a man that never felt loved by his mom. He said they tried therapy. For some reason, it did not work. This is a man that struggled for a good part of his life, not feeling like he loved himself. So, in getting therapy, he's going to always feel like if he doesn't choose himself, that he's letting himself down, because it's levels to therapy. And that is where he is right now. He spoke about people looking inward and working on themselves. Was he speaking about jeanniemai? Because he can go to all the therapy he wants, but if his partner is not in therapy, it will not work, because she needs to understand what he's struggling with, vice versa. In closing, I feel like these two would have never made it, and I'm going to tell you why. regardless of how this relationship ended, I don't believe it that these two would have never made it. For one, you're dealing with a man who never felt loved by his mom, his mother. Jeanniemai is no different from him. She just suffered differently because she didn't feel loved by her own mother. So that means what he needs, she doesn't have it to give because she never received it either. So this was never going to work. Okay? Jeezy did not feel like Jeanniemai needed his leadership. And he alluded to that in the interview. This doesn't make Jeezy a bad person, but I tell you what it means. The things he needed, she couldn't provide. Now, I don't know about her because he's the one that filed for bankruptcy. She could have been happy. I don't know, but because he's the one that filed bankruptcy. I'm sorry, I keep saying bankruptcy. Because he's the one that filed divorce, we know that he wasn't being fulfilled in the marriage. We saw a video. I'm sorry, it wasn't a video. I'm just misspeaking all throughout this interview. Y'all forgive me. Jeezy posted an Instagram picture, and basically what he said is everybody can't go with you. He was most definitely speaking of his wife because he did not feel that he could trust her either, because this is a man that has been broken from the relationship with his mother. So what that means is Jeezy is a very fragile individual. Um, I'm not sure where he is in his therapy journey, but as it states and what his struggles are right now, he feels like he has to choose himself. And with that, that is why he filed for divorce. Because he feels like if he doesn't choose himself, he will ultimately lose himself. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what y'all think. Keep in mind, I am doing my review of the entire interview. Well, I'm sorry. I'm doing my review based on his situation with the Jeanniemai, filing for divorce. But ultimately, it stems from who he is as a person. And that is what he described in this interview. So you guys make sure you are sharing my videos. Make sure you are subscribed to my channel and let me know what y'all think in the comments, and I will catch you in the next video.